Yes, please come. Do I have any cases today?
You have a case regarding labor dispute in 5 minutes.
Okay, please say the parties to come in. Thank you for attending this conciliation meeting today. I'm your conciliating officer, Fatima Alam Oishi. I believe this dispute went through negotiation. As the negotiation was not fruitful, this case was referred to me, a conciliator. The process of conciliation is an alternate dispute resolution where both the parties of the dispute come to a third party, a conciliator, to come to an agreement. This session can be conducted by joint session or private session. To introduce myself, I'm a senior advocate in the Supreme Court of Bangladesh and I have been dealing with ADR for the last 10 years. Cases like negotiation, conciliation, and arbitration relating to the industrial dispute. In this case, I was appointed by the government and my duty is to help the parties to reach an agreement. I will just help the parties without giving any legal binding decision. I shall make both the parties understand what will be the ultimate result. If they settle their matter over here, and what will be their loss and what will be their gain if this case goes to the court. I would like to know from the parties if it's the first time they are participating in a conciliation session.
Yes.
Alright, so as a conciliator, it is my duty to explain the whole procedure that I will be following throughout the session. Conciliation is a voluntary, flexible, confidential, and interest based process. The ultimate decision is to agree on the settlement remain with the parties. A conciliator assists each of the parties independently develop two of their objectives. The document, evidence, or any other information which are used during the process are confidential. One of the most important advantages of this, it is an informal process and contains simple procedures which can be easily followed by the general people. The process depends upon the circumstances of the case. In this process, the need of the parties comes first, like quick settlement of their cases, so there is no chance of delay. The conciliation is cheap as compared to the litigation. They are cost effective and most opted process for resolving disputes. It purely depends upon the nature of the dispute, but it is widely acceptable. This is a win-win process. There is no loss and no win for a party. I am not representing any side of the party and the information shared over here will be fully confidential. If the parties fail to settle their dispute over here, then the conciliation proceed in this conciliation proceeding, I shall refer this case to the arbitration. Under Section 210 of the Labour Act 2006, the industrial dispute has been advised where we can settle the industrial dispute by ADR through negotiation or conciliation, which is an effective and overall statutory mechanism. If it cannot be resolved by ADR, then it can be referred to the Labour Court. One more thing that the parties need to know about the conciliation is that it is a confidential and informal process, and anything that happens in this session shall not be disclosed to the outside world. So as far as my role as a conciliator is concerned, my job is just to facilitate the entire process. In that sense, I will not interfere and ask questions to seek clarification with the intention to help the parties proceed toward the settlement. I shall not act as a judge or pass any legal remark that would influence your decision, and I would remain neutral throughout the session. Despite being an informal process, I would like to set up a few ground rules that must be followed throughout the session. Are the parties clear?
Yes.
Okay, now coming to the ground rules of the session, I would just like to state that we have been allotted a limited amount of time. I would request to ask the parties to make most out of that time. The other thing which is to keep in the mind is that the parties are requested to maintain the decorum of the session and avoid the use of any sort of unparliamentary language over here. Parties shall be respectful towards each other and give equal opportunity to the other party whenever the time is. Claimant, can you please introduce yourself and your legal representative?
Good afternoon, Conciliator. I am the collective bargaining agent Badhan Molla and I am representing 300 workers in the MBO factory.
Good afternoon. I'm Saikot. I've been working as legal advisor of labor union last 10 years, and I'm gonna represent Mr. Badin Mullah, and we have another witness who is Abhishek Burman. He's one of the worker of our company.
Now, respondent, can you please introduce yourself and your legal representative?
Good afternoon, Conciliator. I'm the Director General of the MBO Factory. For you listening me to, I will represent the company in this dispute.
Good afternoon, Conciliator. I am Surekta Pinky. I'm the legal representative of MBO Factory, and we have an expert witness, Mr. Jubair.
Mr. Badun, please tell us your side of the story.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, our main job as workers in this company is to produce and export garments to more than 5 countries. We diligently have been following our duty since the very beginning of the company. And since 2017, our workers in MBO have been receiving 16,000 taka monthly and 1,92,000 taka annually.
So, what is the main concern for you and your workers?
And the economic stability of Bangladesh has worsened, and it is quite difficult for us to maintain our livelihood with the current salary, as our wages have been remained same since 2017. And we raised the issue 2 months ago to the authorities, and no steps have been taken since then. And we have been on a hunger strike for 3 days before there was even a negotiation.
Have you gone on a strike because of the wages?
Yes, ma'am. We want a 25% increment as well as other festive bonuses.
So, Mr. Badun, please say me what are the hardships you or your families and the workers have been facing?
Ma'am, the factory is situated in Farmgate, Dhaka. So the cost of the workers is not only based on the food, cloth, but also based on the rent of the house. Many of our workers of the company live in slums and still they have to pay a minimum of 4,000 taka. Besides that, we also have to bear our child's education expenses as well as health expenses. Many of us are the sole provider in our families. It is quite difficult for us to support our entire family on that little of money since the inflation.
Coming to you, Miss Mitu, what brought you here today?
Miss Conciliator, the main reason for me being here today is the high wages demand by the workers. I think that is quite outrageous.
So you mean to say it's quite unfair for your company?
The workers have entrusted themselves in a legally binded contract before joining the company and had no complaints for signing the paper. In the contract, it specifies the wages and the bonus and as well as the other facilities they will be provided in the company.
I understand your point of view, Miss Mitu. But what do you have to say about inflation?
Currently, I have 350 workers.
Yes.
Currently, I have 350 workers working in our company. The main task of our company is to produce our own merchandise and export them in 5 different countries. Our company couldn't produce or export for 1 year. Due to the pandemic, yet we continue to pay them half of their salaries. It was quite difficult for us to restart our production after the heavy loss in the pandemic. Apart from that, high cost of materials and taxes to export has been a significant strain for us.
Claimant, do you have anything to add to that?
Yes, Miss Conciliator, we have our witness whose name is Mr. Abhishek Burman. He's the minimum wages worker of their company, and he wanna talk his own words to you if you wanna hear from his side.
Of course, I'll listen to your story, Mr. Abhishek Burman. Mr. Abhishek Burman, please.
Ma'am, we have been suffering for years, but to whom years are sight of this tree, except God.
Are you comfortable stating your story over here?
Yes,
Okay, right now I will go to a private sessions. Both the claimant and the respondent will get equal chance to present their cases in front of me. The session will be fully confidential. Respondent, if you don't have any kind of objection, I would like to start with the claimant.
Sure, ma'am. We have no objection.
Okay, then we will start our first private session with claimant. Mr. Abhishek, you can freely talk over here. Everything you will be discussing over here will be remaining confidential.
Of course, ma'am.
I heard you want to talk about some of your personal life, so I would like to ask you about that.
Thank you. Ma'am, I have been working here for almost 10 years. I have seen so many ups and downs. The wages matter is not new for the company. Even before the pandemic, when the company was doing well, we the workers have been financially suffering. We brought the issue towards the authorities, but the authorities didn't support us. The laid off has been working as the ultimatum for us, and no worker dare to question the authorities again.
And when did the workers collectively bargain for this increase of remuneration?
Ma'am, this concern has been noticed during the pandemic. Our Director General mentioned that we have been receiving half of our wages, which is not completely true, as 30% of our workers have been laid off, and most of the workers have been recruited after the pandemic. They are all temporary workers.
If you have no more queries to add, we would end our first private session over here. Please make sure whatever you discussed over here, whatever the terms and agreements discussed over here, remain confidential from the other party.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Miss Mitu, are you comfortable over here?
Yes, Miss Counselor.
Miss Mitu, do you have any regards you want to personally share with me?
Yes, I have actually facing some financial difficulties which actually can't disclose in front of the workers, nor will they understand my point of view.
Do you think the 25% raise in the wages is much for the corporate sector?
After 1 year of shutdown and restriction due to the COVID pandemic, we are straining to keep up with the price increase without losing our customers to the big competitors. We lost many existing contracts during this pandemic. As I have already mentioned, the financial fragility of our business was quite sore. And the workers' own economic survival is a particularly sensitive point, which I actually understand. But you also have to understand that I have a company to run.
Are you willing to negotiate with the workers?
I think I can give some raise, but not what they are asking for.
No. Then thank you. Let's end our session over here. Thank you. Both of the parties have stated your opinion in your private sessions. I believe you have agreed to a point. Respondent, coming to you, how do you want to debunk not to give 25% raises to your workers?
But, Miss Conciliator, we have our expert witness who will discuss and brief us what is the current situation of the economic condition and why 25% increase cannot be negotiated by us.
Mr. Jubair, you can.
Hello, I am Jubair. I am the head of the finance department of India. And I will be stating some economical data to prove why the company cannot agree on a 25% raise. Our company revenue is the same from the last 10 years. And now the world is facing the Ukraine and Russia war. So due to work, our production faced many obstacles. Our company's annual profit is 10 crore taka. And here is the spreadsheet of the division of our profit. And you can see there is no way to increase the 25% for the workers.
How much can you comply with it, Ms. Mintu?
I think we can raise it up to 10%.
Mr. Badwan, are you willing to comply with the 10% they have been offering?
10%, we cannot accept such an offer. The amount is as little, so nothing will happen with small amount of money. Highest we can compromise 20%.
I believe if both the parties cannot compromise, this case shall be forwarded to arbitration. And Mr. Badhan, I don't think so it will help the workers if the case goes to arbitration. Same goes for you also, Ms. Mitu. If the case goes to arbitration, you will still continue to lose the contract and financial loss for your company. As both of the parties have stated certain amount of wages you want to increase for the workers, I believe that 15% raise shall be equitable for both the parties, and it will be also win-win for both the parties. I would love to say you that to suggest this thing and discuss with your lawyers and inform me if you want to agree on the same matter.
I think I would like a private session with my lawyer.
Yes, you can of course have a private session with your lawyer.
Should we settle for 15%?
I think it will be better for you to accept the offer. If the matter goes to the arbitration, then the company may face some financial losses. Like this.
As both the parties have come to an agreement on the rise of the wages of the worker as 15%. The wage before was 16,000 taka, but henceforth it will be 18,400 taka. Also, the contract includes details of how the parties will communicate with each other in the future, commitment to each other about behavior, a summary of any general understanding between the parties, what the parties will do if one or both feel that their agreement is not working effectively. Remember this, mediation becomes legally binding when a mediation agreement is reached. It can therefore be enforced once it is approved by the court of law. Dishonoring a mediation agreement can result in time of court, heavy legal fines, and even civil arrest. Please sign this paper.
Please.
As the matter has been already resolved and I believe you have come to an agreement, this conciliation has reached an agreement without taking this case to any further legal proceedings. So, to say that I hope you reached your settlement and there will be no further dispute in the future. Thank you. Please.
ওদিকে চাপ না ভাই, কাজ।
1, 2, 3, start.
ও একটা একটা স্টার্ট করে দে।
হ্যাঁ।
এই তুই মুখের এটা ফেলা না। চিচিং পাইতেছে।
কে দিছে তোর এটা? বিলাইছস
12 বছর থাকবে তোর পেটের মধ্যে।
12 বছর চিংড়ি বেটা থাকবো তোর পেটে। সত্যি কি বলছো?
খেলা যে আমরা
12 বছর পরে মনে রাখবে এটার জন্য হয়েছে। Thank you for attending the conciliation meeting today. বন্ধ কর। বন্ধ করে দাও।
300 ওয়ার্কার
আচ্ছা স্টার্ট করছস? আচ্ছা 1, 2, 3 action. Claimant, can you introduce yourself?
হাসি কি আছে?
আচ্ছা আমি সাইয়েদের দিকে তাকাবো স্টার্ট
সাইডের দিকে কেন তাকাবি? আমার দিকে তাকাবি।
Claimant
পারি না।
Okay. Claimant, can you introduce yourself?
ভাই এরকম হাসা দিলে প্রতিটা কাটে দিলে হাসা।
1, 2, 3 final. Claimant, can you introduce yourself?
সুন্দর করে বলো। আস্তে আস্তে।
আমি এখানে ব্যাকআপ দিচ্ছি।
ওদের বয়ফ্রেন্ড এভারকে ভেবে সুন্দর করে বল। তাহলে ওদের গার্লফ্রেন্ড ভেবে
ও তো নিতে পারতেছ না।
Claimant,
ওরে খাইছে রে। এবারে বাবা এখন পারবে। পুরাই বায়াস যা বলো।
okay final.
আস্তে দাঁড়া।
আরে
Claimant, can you introduce yourself and your legal representative?
গুড আফটারনুন কনসিলিয়েটর। কনসিলিয়েটর বলতে কি ভাই?
Ma'am, bol.
ম্যাম বলবো কেন?